Guys, please smash that 4,000 likes and hit that subscribe button if you're new. If you want to support me, I know you got this. Now let's continue. The episode starts with Baby Bear as he takes his newly acquired weapon, a long rod, which was small in size but can increase in size when the time for action comes. Gripping it with determination, ready for some action. Meanwhile, Black Warrior Rabbit stands nearby, weapon in hand, his hammer gripped tightly in a ready position. He tells Baby Bear that on the count of 3, their battle will begin, and as soon as he says 3, they launch into their battle. Baby Bear swings his club toward Black Warrior Rabbit, but Warrior Rabbit dodges, leaping into the air, his hammer poised to strike Baby Bear's head. In the distance, Seo-jun, White Rabbit, and Chubby Rabbit sit, eagerly watching this exciting showdown. Seo-jun comments on how both Baby Bear and Black Warrior Rabbit have grown stronger and how much he enjoys seeing their progress. Suddenly, a voice from behind startles Seo-jun. He turns only to see none other than Silverwolf Chief, who calls out, saying he has something important to share with Seo-jun. Seo-jun invites Silverwolf Chief over, and soon enough, Wolf Chief appears with 2 companions, each hauling huge carts loaded with red locusts. Silverwolf Chief, like a royal figure, sits before Seo-jun and informs him that they've brought an abundance of red locusts. Even Seo-jun is impressed by the amount, praising Wolf Chief's hard work and the dedication of his team. While putting on his shoes, Seo-jun asks if Iona wasn't able to come. Wolf Chief explains that Iona had to leave the battle due to a problem, which kept her from joining them. Concerned, Seo-jun questions if there was trouble on the 67th floor or if something serious had happened. As Seo-jun keeps pressing for answers, Wolf Chief, wearing a serious expression, slowly recounts the events. Everything had gone smoothly at first, thanks to Seo-jun's onion blade, but then the red locusts suddenly changed their attack pattern, hitting them with a massive, unexpected strike. This shift in strategy caused chaos, but thankfully Iona saved everyone in the nick of time. Seeing Seo-jun's genuine concern, Elka, one of Wolf Chief's companions, blushes, noting Seo-jun's caring nature. Elka explains that the red locusts' shift in attack was intense. They used a strange strategy to overwhelm the onion blades by advancing in random pattern, making it hard to fend them off. Yet, despite the overwhelming numbers, Iona's powerful magic came through, saving all the wolves, lizardmen, and mercenaries. Elka reassures Seo-jun that although challenging, Seo-jun's onion blade managed to kill nearly 90% of the red locusts, leaving the remaining 10% to be handled by their combined forces. Elka explains that now all the lizardmen, silver wolves, and mercenaries are guarding the 67th floor to prevent any red locusts from reaching the 68th floor. Hearing this, Seo-jun breathes a sigh of relief, grateful his friends are safe. But deep down, he can't help but worry, crossing his arms and praying for their safety. The scene then shifts to a passing village, a well-known spot where travelers can journey between floors. Here we see the Tower of Gravity, a massive white structure where Elka came to get information about Iona. However, even after searching for a long time, Elka can't find her. Finally, at the receptionist's desk, he learns that Iona has already left. Shocked, he wonders why Iona isn't waiting as planned. The receptionist offers to pass along a message for Iona, so Elka leaves a note asking when she'll return and mentions he needs to discuss the 67th floor. Elka also asks about Theo, who was supposed to be there, but the receptionist informs him that Theo has also left. Elka is baffled. Where could they both have gone? Then he hears that Theo mentioned something about Granny Village. Elka's expression changes. He realizes that Theo might be headed for big trouble. One of Elka's companions asks why he looks so tense, and Elka explains that Granny Village is Theo's hometown. And knowing Theo, this can only mean one thing. He's about to bring back a big problem. After that, the scene shifts, and we see Theo happily dancing and singing along the way, with the rest of the group watching in amusement. Some people are surprised, others are laughing, but Theo? He doesn't care one bit what anyone thinks. He glances back and sees the girls trailing behind, barely keeping up. Theo shouts at them, "What are you all doing? Got gum on your feet or something? Move it!" They hustle to keep up. Then Theo turns to Oran, who's lagging even further behind, and yells, "How many times I gotta tell you? You're an intern and I'm the senior. Just follow me!" But Oran is still trailing, and that's got Theo fuming. Inside, Oran's boiling with anger, but he hides it, giving Theo a respectful nod. He calls him respected sir, saying he'll follow immediately. But as Oran runs to catch up, he bumps into a tiny hamster that appears out of nowhere. It's so small he doesn't even see it until he's already kneed it by accident. Oran and the hamster both tumble down. Oran's frustration doubles. He's red with anger, cursing under his breath. Already irritated from listening to Theo's orders, this little trip was the last straw. He looks down to see what caused his fall and sees a small hamster. Oran lets loose, shouting at the hamster, asking it, "Can't you see, hamster? Ever heard of walking on the road properly?" But that hamster is none other than Iona. Iona realizes it was actually Oran who came charging without looking, and she's not having it. She snaps back at him, furious. Iona asks Oran why he's yelling and blaming her when it was actually his fault. Oran, seeing the hamster get bold, gets even angrier and shouts, "You got a death wish or something talking to me like that?" Iona's rage hits a new level. She gives him a dead serious look and asks, "Did you just call me a weak little hamster?" Their glares intensify, the tension between them thickening. Just then, Theo calls out to Oran, wondering what he's doing back there. Theo notices Iona and instantly cools down, smiling as he greets her, asking what she's doing there. Iona says she's happy to see Theo too, acting like the meeting was a coincidence. But truthfully, we know Iona's been secretly following him all along. Oran, watching this friendly exchange, starts to feel tense. He gets nervous and wonders if this little hamster could actually be Theo's girlfriend. Sweat breaks out on Oran's forehead. If Theo's got feelings for Iona, Oran could be in deep trouble. He imagines Theo might make him do double or triple the work for disrespecting her. Theo asks Iona why she was standing there, and Iona's just about to tell him how Oran caused her head injury and then threatened her. But before she can finish, Oran, fearing the worst, drops to his knees and begs for forgiveness, calling himself a lowly black cat and apologizing profusely. Both Theo and Iona are surprised as Oran continues to cry and apologize, admitting it was all his fault. Theo is pleased and even apologizes to Iona on Oran's behalf, saying she can punish him however she wants. Iona, feeling a bit awkward since she doesn't know Theo and Oran's exact relationship, decides not to go too hard on him and forgives him, saying it's only because of Theo. Oran is overjoyed, thanking her repeatedly before wiping his tears and hurrying away. Theo then asks Iona what brought her there, and she explains she came to meet someone in Granny Village. Theo's eyes light up, saying, "No way, that's my hometown, Granny Village!" Iona was surprised to learn that Theo was also from Granny Village. Her eyes lit up as she asked if he wouldn't mind her tagging along on his visit to the village. But Theo hadn't actually planned on going inside. He was only here to catch fish near Granny Village and pick up a few supplies. He hesitated, uncertain if he should go in with Iona. Before Theo could answer, Oran grew excited and grabbed Theo's arm, urging him to reconsider. Oran was quick to remind Theo that Granny Village was also his hometown, and he insisted that he needed to deliver urgent news to his father. Oran's pleas grew more desperate as he tried to sway Theo's decision. Theo, however, held firm, reminding Oran that he had come specifically to fish, visit the merchant shop, and then head to the 38th floor to collect some items for Soi-jun. Noticing that his words alone weren't convincing Theo, Oran decided to sweeten the deal. He offered 1,000 tower coins, declaring that thanks to his family's wealth, that amount was nothing to them. But the offer barely made Theo blink. He had grown so successful that earning 1,000 tower coins in a day was now just part of his routine. Oran could see that even a hefty amount of money wasn't going to change Theo's mind. Realizing he needed another tactic, Oran shifted his tone. He began recounting Theo's journey from weakness to strength, from a cat with humble skills to a legendary merchant. He painted a vivid picture of Theo strolling into Granny Village, villagers staring in awe at his newfound success. Those who had once looked down on him would be jealous, and among them would be Meryl. Oran hinted at the satisfaction Theo might feel, imagining Meryl seeing him so accomplished and wealthy. It was a silent revenge that would leave her astonished. Theo listened to Oran's words, remaining quiet. His smile grew as he mulled it over, finally nodding with a casual, "I'll think about it." After a moment's pause, he turned to Iona, agreeing to go with her to Granny Village. Oran's face lit up as he jumped with joy, clearly thrilled that he'd convinced Theo. As the decision settled in, Iona grew curious about Meryl. She softly inquired about her, but Theo merely shrugged, downplaying it. Meryl was nobody important, he said. Just trash. While Theo's outward demeanor remained calm, inside, his heart was pounding with excitement at the idea of returning to Granny Village as a success. The thought of his triumph was satisfying, and his excitement simmered beneath his cool exterior. Meanwhile, Oren had his own reasons for celebrating. In his mind, he had managed to trick Theo. He had no intention of giving Theo any tower coins, nor did he plan to deliver news to his father. As soon as they reached Granny Village, Oren intended to disappear, vanishing from Theo's sight entirely. Theo smiled to himself, envisioning the pride he'd feel as he walked through Granny Village, but Iona's thoughts remained fixated on a single question. Who exactly was Meryl? Theo and Iona continued their slow journey toward Granny Village, unaware that Oren was following closely behind, a devilish smile plastered on his face. In his mind, he was already plotting his revenge. The thought of reaching Granny Village and teaching Theo a lesson filled him with twisted satisfaction. Meanwhile, Theo turned to Iona with a warm smile and assured her that Granny Village was a beautiful and peaceful place. He promised that she'd have a great time there and even offered to show her around once they arrived. Just as Theo finished speaking, the scene shifted and we found ourselves in Granny Village, a once thriving, now pitifully crumbling village. The signboard bearing the village's name hung askew, darkened with grime. As Theo, Oren, Iona, and their companions, Lecky Number 1 and Lecky Number 2, walked further into the village, the state of decay became even more apparent. Walls of once sturdy houses were now crumbling, cats lay weak and unmoving on the ground, and the place reeked of neglect. Dried fish littered the ground, swarmed by flies. Mothers sat on the roadside with their baby cats while elderly cats looked on, thin and weary. It was clear they hadn't eaten in weeks. Theo's eyes widened, his mouth falling open in shock. He scanned the empty merchant shops and barren fish market stalls. Nothing remained, not a scrap of food in sight. A wave of worry swept over him and questions began to swirl in his mind. What happened to my hometown? Why does everyone look so weak, like they haven't eaten in days? Spotting an old friend, Theo hurried over and asked, "What happened here?" The cat, equally distressed, explained that the village had been fine when he left for a brief trip, but upon his return, he found it in utter disarray. Just then, a voice called out to the cat, "Jeff!" Turning, Jeff's face mirrored Theo's shock as he saw his mother and a small kitten, looking fragile and tired, standing nearby. They ran to each other, Jeff's concern palpable as he asked his mother if she was safe and what had happened to their once peaceful village. His mother's face softened with relief to see her son, but her voice trembled as she recounted the village's fate. A few days ago, strange, frog-like monsters had infested the lake behind their village, making it impossible for the villagers to fish, their main source of food and income. The frogs hadn't just disrupted the lake, they had invaded the village itself, spreading destruction in their path. Desperate to protect their home, the village's adult cats had ventured to the lake, only to return battered and broken. Injuries covered their bodies, eyes swollen shut, legs bruised, heads bandaged. The village was now on the brink of collapse. Food prices outside the tower had skyrocketed, and with no fish to sell, Granny Village had lost its income. Jeff's mother's voice shook as she explained that if things didn't change within a few days, they would either starve or be forced to abandon their home. Theo frowned, trying to comprehend the gravity of the situation. He asked Jeff's mother if these were just ordinary frog monsters. Surely a handful of frogs couldn't cause this level of chaos. But Jeff's mother, looking frail and uneasy, explained that it wasn't a mere handful of frogs. The lake was teeming with thousands of them. The situation had become dire, with no apparent solution in sight. A flicker of realization crossed Jeff's mother's face, as she mentioned that the Mercenary Association had visited the village a few weeks prior, and strangely, the frog monster population had exploded after their arrival. Iona, taking this in, asked Jeff's mother where these mercenaries were now. Jeff's mother cast a wary glance toward the towering structure in the distance. She explained, voice hushed, that all the mercenaries were currently inside the castle of Oren's father. Theo reached into his bag and with a quick motion, began to pull out thousands of piranha fish, one after another. A seemingly endless stream of fish poured from his bag, piling into a towering mountain of food. Determined to help, Theo insisted that Jeff's mother eat first, seeing how weak she had become. He continued talking as he pulled out more fish, the pile growing higher with every second. The villagers, initially stunned, rushed forward and gathered around the mountain of piranha fish, their faces a mix of relief and disbelief. Theo, taking control of the situation, instructed Jeff to distribute the fish equally throughout the village. As he did so, he reminded Jeff that this was a favor, no payment was needed. Theo saw this as an internal benefit, a responsibility he was glad to take on as Jeff's senior. Jeff's problem was now his problem. Grateful and overwhelmed, Jeff thanked Theo sincerely, moved by his support. After this, Theo turned to look for Oren, suggesting that they head over to meet his father. However, as soon as he looked back, he realized Oren had vanished. Theo froze in shock, the realization hitting him, and then he grabbed his head, letting out a frustrated shout as he processed what had just happened. Oren had run off. Meanwhile, Iona, noticing the situation, quickly assessed that Oren hadn't gone far. She assured Theo, her voice calm yet urgent, that if they acted quickly, they could still catch him. The scene shifted to Oren, who was now sprinting down the path, a twisted grin lighting up his face as he relished his escape. Running with all his might, Oren laughed, confident that he had finally evaded Theo's grasp. It was his moment of triumph. Did Theo really think I'd be his underling forever? He thought with a smirk. I'm Oren. I rule my own fate. I'm no one's servant. He convinced himself that once he reached his father, they'd find a way to break the contract with Theo. However, as he ran, a shadow loomed over him, stretching across the ground ominously. Looking up, his confidence melted away, replaced with fear as he locked eyes with the Silver Wolf Chief standing above him, his gaze fierce and unyielding. Without warning, the chief pounced, his eyes locked on Oren with a bloodthirsty intensity. It was clear he wasn't pleased. The sheer ferocity in the Wolf Chief's stance left Oren stammering, his tough facade gone as he tried to explain himself. Reduced to a trembling mess, he backed away, his words tumbling out in a panic, insisting that he'd only left to get Theo's permission to visit his father, but the chief wasn't buying it. He glared down at Oren with a deadly seriousness, and his voice carried an unmistakable warning. He wouldn't tolerate lies, and if Oren were deceiving him, the punishment would be dire. Suddenly, just as the chief looked ready to enforce his threat, a powerful whoosh filled the air. A large black wolf appeared between Elka and Oren, his razor-sharp teeth gleaming as he stepped in front of Elka, challenging him. Clad in armor with a red scarf blowing in the breeze, the black wolf gave a smirk as he leveled his gaze at the Silver Wolf Chief. His red eye glinted with confidence as he asserted his presence, sending a clear message that as long as he was around, Oren was off limits. Elka, caught off guard, took a step back, sizing up his new opponent, his eyes narrowing as he evaluated this unexpected twist in events. And with that, the tense standoff hung in the air, leaving everyone wondering what would happen next. With this dramatic turn, the episode came to a close. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to show your support by liking the video. And for those who are new, don't forget to subscribe. Drop a mango sauce in the comments if you made it to the end.